On the screen, I saw kitchen knives in the corner. And it was also with a very interesting like sci-fi music on the background, AI assistant that has body. A little bit scary. It doesn't look like God, but it rather looks like the opposite of it. It's something that can imagine that these robots will look exactly like us. And what if we no longer have to be paycheck slaves? What if we can just work on something just because we like doing it, just because we are passionate about it? What is life? What is reality? Okay, I'm trying a bit different format for this video. I just watched a presentation of Figure03 and I want to share with you my thoughts. What does it mean having a humanoid robot at home? When is it going to replace our work? How is it going to affect our relationships? And will it ever affect the way we see life and what reality actually is? And also, what is the mythology aspect of it? Let's put that all in the context. Let's go. In the new release of Figure03, you can see a humanoid robot wandering around a very luxurious home. But what can it actually do? We saw in the demonstration that it can fold your laundry, it can clean your dishes, it can clean your home, it can serve you drinks. And I mean, it's not perfect, right? It does some mistakes, it's a little bit clumsy, but maybe it can do, for example, 80% of your home tasks. I think that's quite a good number. But my first question when I see wandering around home is safety. Like how safe it is to have a machine like that at home. For example, if it moves up the stairs and falls down on someone, that can be really dangerous. It's still quite heavy. Also, in one of the demonstrations, I saw this humanoid robot washing dishes in the kitchen, and somehow on the screen I saw kitchen knives in the corner, and it was also with a very interesting like sci-fi music on the background, and somehow unconsciously I kept wondering about those knives and how even safe it is to have them in the kitchen when you have a very human-like intelligence around. And of course, I hope that this intelligence is going to serve us well, also in the form of the robots. But it was a little bit of like irrational thought. And there's also an interview filmed by Times where a founder of Figure explains how he sees the reality in maybe like 5, 10, 20 years, where he envisions that every home would have at least one humanoid robot. And that's like a lot of robots, right? I think he mentioned something like 8, 10 billion. And when you have this robot at home, it can not only clean your home, make it tidy, make it beautiful, but also in the demonstration, it shows how this robot plays with a dog and almost like a companion for people at home. Second aspect I want to explore with you is work. How this technology is going to change how we work and how we collaborate with others. And what if we no longer have to be paycheck slaves? What if we can just work on something just because we like doing it, just because we are passionate about it, just because we have a talent and we want to share it, just because we want to connect with one another? And if we have software, like right now, these days, we can already automate many tasks, but we really need that embodiment of technology in real life. If we want to automate more of the tasks and achieve AGI, we have to give that software a body. And it sounds a little bit creepy, but and I also, of course, would like to speak about the relationships. How are we going to relate to one another if we have this assistant at home, or with us, near us. I mean, AI assistant that has body. This thing is going to not only clean our home and do the work for us that maybe we don't want to do, but also we can have a conversation with them basically 24/7. It can be our best friend, our lover, our supporter, our provider, everything what we expect from a perfect romantic partner. And that's where it gets challenging, because it almost feels like this technology is not only automating our tasks that maybe we don't really want to do, but it's also almost like automating our feelings, our emotions. We are already living in a very overexposed environment where we already share a lot, right? Where these companies already know a lot about us by collecting our data. But imagine if they know our deepest thoughts, our deepest feelings. Imagine if we form a romantic relationship with this technology. What can future look like? And how is it going to affect our well-being? And also, I want to point out that I recorded a few videos on this topic of having a romantic relationship with an AI. And I like that we are very curious about this topic. I like that people are willing to give it a try, just by thinking about it, and envisioning, okay, what could it be? What could life bring if, we have this relationship with technology in a very intimate way? And, I like that curiosity a lot, but it also scares me. Like, where are we going with it? And I mean, right now, these humanoid robots look like machines, like very advanced computers, like something maybe from sci-fi. But at some point, they are going to be indistinguishable from people, from real life people. And that's where we kind of like go into uncanny valley effect. Uncanny valley, when something is, for example, a humanoid robot is very close to look like human, but it's not exactly it. It creates a very creepy, very scary feeling. And I feel like when we kind of solve that uncanny valley problem, then imagine that these robots will look exactly like us. And so we are slowly moving in this video into the topic of spirituality and mythology. If we are no longer paycheck slaves and we have enough time for contemplation, for our well-being, for meditation, and when we feel really calm and centered, we are different, and we also live a different life, and we ask ourselves very different questions compared to the moments when we are hustling, when we are busy, when we are stressed. So let's imagine if we are no longer stressed and we have everything, right? With the help of technology. What kind of life are we going to live? Will we be able to ask and maybe answer questions like, what is life? What is reality? What is collective conscious? What is our consciousness? And, of course, we have science, but science cannot answer these questions right now. But I think those questions are really important to, I don't know if we can answer them, but at least we can try to answer, right? We can at least ask those questions. We can ask those questions ourselves or other people and try to, look at life from a different perspective, when it's not just about hustle culture, it's not about a human society like Byung-Chul Han mentions, but maybe it's about something else. Maybe it's about contemplation. Maybe it's about the way we relate to one another in a more empathetic way. And I wonder, if we have a chance for a more meaningful life, will religion become more popular? especially in the Western world, where we see kind of decrease of the interest in religion. Maybe we give birth to new religion, and maybe we can form and create something else. So another aspect I want to touch on in this video, number 4, is mythology. Mythology has been with us for a very long time. It played a big role of who we are today. The stories that people shared with each other, the stories that gave us humans meaning. And particularly, I want to mention a very important person who studied mythology, and he was also a psychoanalyst. He is Carl Jung. And he really inspired me to look at mythology and life and at different stories that we shared in the past from like a different perspective. And I also wanted to kind of briefly analyze with you artificial intelligence and put it in the perspective of, in the context of mythology. I noticed that many people see it differently. There are actually two ways that people see it like that. That's like a most common kind of point of view. And of course, there are different shades of gray, but okay, two directions. One category is when someone sees AI as like a godlike creature. And it's very common to see AI in that gaze when people who work in tech, they almost see it as something that is going to save us, that is going to create more meaning, that is going to empower us. We will be able to achieve more, almost become like gods. And it almost sounds like a cult, and maybe it is a little bit of a cult. That's how people bond, right? I don't know if you have heard of this, but Ilya Sutskever, who was also a part of a team at OpenAI, said that you had to feel the AGI. And they also had probably some kind of ritual during their meetings. And I think that's totally fine, right? To have some sort of bonding moment with the team and have like a more deeper purpose. But at the same time, I feel the AGI received a little bit of a critique from other audience. Okay, another mythological side of how people see artificial intelligence is a little bit scary. It doesn't look like God, but it rather looks like the opposite of it. It's something that can create some damage in the world. Some people think that it can even eliminate humans, but those are all speculations and stories that, people share with each other these days. And I think that is coming, the dark side, the dark vision is coming from uncertainty. We already live in the age of anxiety where we don't know what to expect tomorrow. We don't know what tomorrow brings. For example, today you have work and income. Tomorrow maybe you don't, or you have less of that. And so that creates a lot of anxiety, and people project that anxiety on different immaterial objects like artificial intelligence. And there is also an interesting term, it's called the shadow. It's again by Carl Jung. The shadow is our oppressed side of our personality. It can be also about oppressed feelings and emotions that come up in a very different way, in a very unconscious way. It comes up in our lives, and for example, we project our anxiety onto this intelligence that is about to kind of take over. And that's the narrative that people share with each other, and that comes from fear of unknown. And of course, it is totally fine to be a little bit scared, a little bit conscious, right? We don't know what the future will bring, indeed. But we are also kind of tired constantly living in this age of anxiety. Actually, Byung-Chul Han calls it the burnout society and high achievement society. I don't know if I agree with him or not, but it's definitely interesting. If you want, you have to read him. Okay, just as a recap, today we covered different aspects of this new technology, embodiment of AI, particularly humanoid robots. We talked about, how it is going to affect our home, our work, our relationships, maybe also our vision of life, our spiritual aspect. And also we talked a little bit about mythology and how to see AI in a little bit of like a context of human civilization. And I want to record more videos on that, more in depth. I also have a few drawings and I wrote down a few dreams and did a psychoanalysis of them. Thanks a lot for watching. My channel is new. If you want to support it, please give this video a like and leave a comment. I actually want to discuss with you, not just, record videos, but also have conversations with people just to see where we are going. And I recorded some videos about Replica AI, and let me know what you think. Bye.